Hi, my name is Pimchanok Dara Chanpitak. Today I'm going to introduce you to Basic Act on Education in Japan, which is law in 2006. This law focuses on building Japanese student into an individual and what this individual can contribute to Japanese society. First, for individual, they need to have high sense of morality and they need to be responsible and they need to work hard. This is like if you go to Japan, everywhere you know that they need to work hard and their education shape them into that kind of students. Second, what individual can do to the group. So individual need to have high respect for other people. So in a way, they have to, keep the peace within their school and everywhere they go, even in family or in their societies. And they need to have, patriotic. So everything that they do need to contribute to Japan. That's what the law want to shape their student into. Before 1947, Japan didn't have any education law. So after Japan lost World War II, it thinks that it needs to improve and develop its country to a certain extent in order to compete other countries. But not in a war way, like not creating the war anymore, but in like economic growth. But in order to do that, how could they build like such a strong fundamental of love toward their country? Is through education. And even until now, the education law in Japan is also based on war and the system as well. Japanese education law has achieved what is wanted their students to be. According to the article, Japan might be what equality in education looks like. It says that when Japanese students are faced with mathematics problem, it seems like they're not giving up. They're very hardworking until they could solve those problems. Another thing that they have achieved, successfully, is the peace. If you come to Japan, you can tell that it's very peaceful in Japan. Like, you don't have strike. Even though there were strikes, it's going to be not dangerous at all. And for the students as well, it's rare to have rebellious student in Japanese school. And with everywhere when you go, especially to the school, they are very clean as well. So this related to the law that they have mentioned about mutual respect. So the education has ingrained respect for others, morality, hardworking, in deep down inside their students' conscience. Japan education law also has its downfall. From Japan Today article, it says that the basic law of Japan places solid importance on conformity. And Japan putting a lot of students in area and forcing them to absorb ideas that they have no way of pre-approving is a recipe for disaster. So it says that students are not meant to be questioned of what teacher asks them to do. They cannot be expressive of themselves. They have to follow the rules, traditions, and if they do something that different from their peers, they will be bullied. And this leads to the problem in Japan as well. For example, some high school girl students, they turn out to be prostitution. Like they work in prostitution because they want to rebel. They cannot express. They feel like they don't have freedom in verbal, in their action. So in a way, they do it behind their parents' back and their teachers' back. From what I see in my own experience is that, for example, if I go to Japanese school, actually my house is very close to Japanese school. Japanese students, even though they respect each other so much and they wouldn't have a fight with their friends, but in a way, they're very shy. They wouldn't look at you into the eyes. And when it comes to study, you can see that they have to study from 3 when they finish school until 10 in the evening just to get into university. And if they don't do that, their parents will be so stressed out. Their teacher will be so concerned. Why you kids are not doing this thing like what your friends are doing? He's supposed to be the ideal of and contribute as much as he could to Japanese society. So sometimes if you go to like a school, the teacher sees a student doing something bad, he will say, okay, you make Japan be shamed. You shame Japan. That's what he was saying in Japanese, or she's saying in Japanese. And I think that put so much pressure onto the student who didn't know anything. Like, why does not sitting properly become like national problem? You know what I mean? So I feel like Japan education is totally based on war system. So they still want to ingrain this kind of patriotism into student brain. And it seems like Japan education system will not change anytime soon, because this custom of studying still passed from generation to generation, and then you can still it in even nowadays. Thank you for listening. Actually, I have inserted some references I have read about under my video. So if you want to look at it, please feel free to.